Hiya, hiya. Well, here's the big news. The big news is I'm going to do the news. Years ago in the 80s, Wolfman Jack was one of the great disc jockeys. Had a show called Midnight Special on TV on Friday nights with the rock and roll acts. And on Saturday, he came to New York and he would do a radio show, and I was on it. That's how I got to New York City at NBC to begin with years ago when I was just a kid. And at that time, the same night that I started with Wolfman Jack doing bad jokes about the news, that was my role, Chevy Chase started upstairs at Saturday Night Live. So what I was doing on radio, he was doing on TV, and we're all goofing around about the news and making fun of it. So I kind of got away from it because I got bored with the politics of it. And now I'm looking at it and I'm saying, this is absurd. It's so absurd now you got to do jokes about it. Again, you know, like Gayle King has announced her engagement to R. Kelly. You know, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I was doing. And Saturday Night Live picked up on it, of course, you know, all through the years. And then they started to give it an initial SNL, you know, became an initial dropper. So I thought that I would not do any more of these political jokes and no more of the comedy based on people's mistakes in government, etc. But it's tempting right now. I just finished reading the Mueller report. I started in June. I have no idea. I'd rather read the phone book, and they don't even print them anymore. You know, I mean, there's nothing here to read. The guy's going to be on television tomorrow. You know all this stuff. And Equifax, you know, that's the company that keeps track of your credit, which I've had a dispute with it for a long time. I've had credit disputes all my life because I never realized that credit was based on how you pay people back rather than how much you owe them. But I guess it's both factors. Anyway, the fact of the matter is they're having to pay $700 million to 147 million people. That means everybody's going to get 8 cents. The President of the United States has bad credit. Now, come on. Would anybody ever loan him money with all the bankruptcies and everything that he's done? Why would, by a credit report, you would never sell him a car, you know, let alone an Air Force plane. You know, you wouldn't sell him anything. But our society is based on credit. It's based on people believing other people are going to pay them back and when they're going to pay them back. The if and the when. Ratings are based on taking a random survey of people to see what they think, like the Gallup polls. They ask 10 or 12 people on the street in New York, who do you think is going to be the next president? Who'd you vote for? Are you any better off than you were 4 years ago? You know, they always do this stuff like a printed report comes out with the Gallup poll, and it shows that this guy is in the lead and that woman is in the lead. Speaking of men and women, aren't we pushing a little bit too much? Don't you think we've gone over the top with pushing women into men's jobs? I mean, take it easy. And also with the black people who are becoming game show hosts. It used to be all white guys, now it's all black guys. a little bit of each would be good, you know? I mean, come on. And oh yeah, Cory Booker, who wants to be president more, if he runs the government like he ran Newark, we would have a lot of potholes. But I want to tell you this, he is an interesting guy. I met him a couple of years ago at the Consumer Electronics Show, and he was hanging around with the wife of the guy who got fired, Les Moonves, from CBS Television as chairman. So I met him back then. Good company, huh? So, you know, Cory Booker is running for office now, and he's a good speaker, good talker, and he wants to let these guys out of prison. Not wrongfully in prison, but those who really have served enough time in his judgment. Not the court's judgment, but in the judgment of the people that, well, they've been in there a long time and they didn't do that much wrong. Let's let them on and give them a second chance. So I was thinking they ought to swap, you know, put all the politicians in jail and have them finish out the time and have those guys come out and do game shows. That would be it. Now we got an answer. and the time is served and justice has been served, you know. I don't know, justice couldn't be served at a drive-through restaurant. But I'll tell you this much, I am on the case. And you know, when I'm on the case, boy, I am more dangerous than anybody you ever met. Because I don't give a shit. It's a Reynolds Rap.